All gas, no break. Welcome to the show. Chris, Justin. Oh, wait. No. Uh, no Justin and no Mo. Mo is presumably not going to be here, and Justin may or may not be showing up. If you're a subscriber, you know the deal. But we got a special guest. We got our good friend Paul joining the program this evening. This is episode 89, the Diedrich Ward episode. Paul, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm the on-call member. So everyone called off. All the line cooks called off for the podcast tonight. They didn't even call off. They no-called, no-showed. Justin sent the text, "Hey, we'll be there in 5 minutes." It's been 85 minutes, but I think Justin will show. I'm putting money on that. But yeah, been good. I'm living life, enjoying the January football. Now that all the fraudulent bullshit teams we don't like are out, Cowboys, Eagles, Bills are out, like we can just relax and enjoy the
Dolphins
playoffs
too.
and not stress about anything until the draft in like a month and a half or 2 months. And I know the draft's in May, but let's be real, the Super Bowl ends and we should start like getting a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean the combine's basically like a week or two after the Super Bowl, so like it pretty much, and then free agency is like a month after the Super Bowl, so it pretty much starts right away. There's really no break from the NFL season. It's a year round thing at this point. And it's pretty impressive that they're pretty much like able to always control the headlines no matter what else is going on.
Whether they buy ESPN or not, they're just able to do that. But yeah, man. I think we're all Lions fans here, but it is interesting to say the least. Who to put money on this Final Four?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm definitely rooting for the Lions for a variety of reasons. Number one, I mean, it's hard. No matter how big of a hater you are, it's kind of hard not to root for that team and that city and that fan base. It's been like 30 years since they've really had any sort of relevancy. This is only like the second NFC championship game that they're ever playing in. Uh, and overall, just a really likable really likable team. It's hard not to want to run through walls for Dan Campbell. It's kind of funny looking back because I think the game last week was like the 3-year anniversary of when Dan Campbell was hired and had his famous "We're gonna bite your kneecaps off" speech, and when that happened, everyone kind of thought like, "Oh, here it goes, like same old Lions once again." They hired a fucking lunatic to be their head coach.
I mean,
Uh,
they did, but they hired the right type of lunatic, I think.
they did, yeah. No, it's funny to look back on like that coaching cycle of 2021 because uh, everyone like kind of the consensus around that time was that like Robert Saleh was the best guy available. And so like everyone was like everyone was kind of applauding the Jets for getting Saleh because he was like such a 180 personality wise, at least he was a 180 from Adam Gase. Winning football games wise, not so much. But yeah, he was a 180 from Gase as far as his personality went and like his like people skills. So people galvanized towards that, but then Dan Campbell says some shit about biting off your kneecaps and this, that, and third, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at this lunatic," and thought that the Lions had got it wrong again. But now here we are. The Lions are playing for the Super Bowl this weekend, and the Jets are still the Jets have still yet to break the now 13 years and counting playoff
Yeah, I
drought.
mean, like everyone gets like political with coaching, right? And it's to a point where there are definitely valid commentaries about opportunities within the coaching realm of the NFL. I'm not saying there's not. Like some people get the shit out of the stick. So I understand the oh wow, another former player is getting an opportunity, but like I feel like a bunch of people talk shit about Dan Campbell and be like, oh, what about all these other people were not getting opportunities, for a variety of different reasons. And I think Jamel Hill said something about it. But like, look at him now. He brought the literal Detroit Lions. That's like a big deal. It's not like bringing the 49ers to the NFC Championship, right? It's not like bringing it. That is an unprecedented level. Rex Ryan brought the Jets to the AFC Championship. This is a big deal. Being able to say you brought the Lions like that. Okay, so if you put on your resume, brought the Detroit Lions to an NFC Championship, I feel like you can be hired anywhere. Like, you're an engineer that needs to be like very heavily credentialed and go to like 8 years of fucking school, like private school to like become an engineer. Yeah, you brought the Lions to an NFC champion. You'll figure it out. We're hiring you. Like it's such an accomplishment that it's insane to me. So it's just I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the city. Honestly, I think about it, man. The tides turned for the Lions because remember how they started to show flashes, but they lost that first game to like the Eagles or something last year. They were like putting up a high octane offense, but they were still losing games. They weren't in a good position, and then they almost made the playoffs. That ass kicking they gave the New York Football Giants last year was the turning point for them. They beat the shit out of us, and they almost made the playoffs, but they've never really looked back since then.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I kind of forgot about that ass kicking against the Giants, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the Lions, like, it took them a minute to figure it out. Like 2021, they struggled immensely. I think they finished. I mean, they finished with the second overall pick that year, so obviously they weren't good. But they bring in. Well, they already had brought in Goff at that point, but then they had a couple of really good drafts. I mean, they drafted Aiden Hutchinson They drafted Aiden Hutchinson in 2022. Amon-Ra St. Brown has become like one of the best receivers in the league. Penei Sewell in 2021. That was a great pick. And then this year, just adding more weapons. You can never have too many weapons. That's like the lesson,
dude.
That's like the lesson to learn from the Detroit Lions. Like that's a lesson like that our shitty teams could learn from the Lions, which is like sad to say. It's like it's sad to say, like the amount of times this year where I was like, oh yeah, there's lessons that the Jets could learn from teams like the Lions and the Browns this year. It's sad to say, but it's true. You can never have too many weapons. I mean. They could have said, "Oh, we got David Montgomery. Don't really need a running back," and they could have not. They could have listened to like the draft nerds who would say, "Oh, don't take a running back in the first round," or don't take one as high as the Lions did, because I think they picked like 12th or 11th or something like that when they picked Gibbs. It was like a pretty high pick they used on him.
I mean, I'll have you know that Gibbs had a better season than Bijan Mustard Robinson.
Very true. He was better than Hunting Bijan. Although Bijan was really good too. But I also blame that.
Bijan's insane. I'm not like trashing him, but like it's the Falcons, right?
It's also
you could say it's the Lions, and look what happened.
Yeah, and it's also funny because like both the usage of both of them was like very questionable. Like the Falcons don't use anyone correctly. Like they don't use Kyle Pitts.
They don't use Drake London.
Yeah, they don't use Drake London. They don't use Bijan. They didn't use Calvin Ridley, especially when he was suspended for gambling and then he left. That guy, and this might not be the first time we mention Calvin Ridley, because the Jets are going to need another receiver, and he is a possibility for them.
The Falcons also don't even utilize their Chick-fil-A restaurant properly. It's only open like on Monday night games and soccer games.
Yeah, it's only open for Monday and Thursday night games. It's like not open for like the main day of like the main event that that stadium is for. Like imagine like you have the imagine they have the Super Bowl there and like there's just one place that's closed.
Right. But like you can't like listen, I think that if a team like the Lions or the Jets or the Browns or any of those like meme teams, Jaguars, the teams that like lazy people who wake up at 1 p.m. and pretend to have a job, they make these memes that are low hanging fruit. Those teams, just shitting on them. They they would probably just like call off if they were working at that Chick-fil-A. They'd be like, "Oh, hey, listen, we should be open, but yeah, no, I have 2 shifts a year, 3 shifts a year. We're not going to open." But yeah, man, they should. What I was actually trying to say, because I just had a brain fart there, was I feel like if no, that was my main point. Sorry. Let me rephrase myself real quick. So if any of those teams like shocked to be in a Super Bowl, Jets, Lions, Browns, anything like that, I feel like we should betray God and open the Chick-fil-A restaurant that day because, like,
Yeah.
believe it or not, that's a miracle. That's a miracle if any of those teams go to the Super Bowl. Therefore, we should betray God and just open Chick-fil-A. Just do it, man.
I thought you
Do it.
said I thought you said portray God and open Chick-fil-A. Like be like, oh, I am God, and I give you my blessing to open Chick-fil-A on the day the Jets and the Lions play each other in the Super Bowl.
I mean,
Look,
it's not too late. You can do that legally.
yeah,
You just have to buy
yeah,
a ticket into the Super Bowl.
right. Well, I don't think it's being held in Atlanta this year, but like that's a pretty new stadium, so like they're gonna have another Super Bowl, I'm sure.
Oh
In
yeah,
the
that's what I mean. Down in the future, like like the Jets. All right, the Jets. All right, is there a future bet for Jets making the Super Bowl? What is it, Mercedes Stadium or whatever it is, right?
For what next year?
For the Falcons, like what's their stadium?
The fucking Saints have the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and that's where the Super Bowl is going to be next year. The Atlanta Falcons is also like they're also a Mercedes-Benz stadium. What is their stadium called?
Yo, Mercedes with the lockdown on the shittiest division in
Yeah,
football.
yeah. It's Mercedes-Benz Stadium and Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So next year it's going to be at the Dome down in NOLA.
Oh, damn. But yeah, no, what I'm saying is that like when it is held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and one of those teams go there, like is there a way we can place a future pick that in 2026 it'll be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and that the Jets will go to the Super Bowl? Like I feel like if I bet 350 on that, we'll be able to pay off my student loans like tomorrow, you know?
Well, the Super Bowl futures for next year should be coming out pretty soon. Usually I think they come out like the week of the current Super Bowl. But the locations for like the next like 3 or 4 Super Bowls I think is already
Right.
like confirmed.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, one can hope. I will say
Another
that I'm going to manifest it for the podcast and for the people listening. Hey, the Jets will play. The Jets will play Mercedes-Benz Stadium for a Super Bowl. And no matter what happens, Chick-fil-A will be served.
I like it. So, I think like the next 4 years or so are all locked up as far as the locations go. But I'm sure next time the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is there, the Jets will be there, and we're gonna open up that damn Chick-fil-A, and we're gonna be serving we're gonna be serving some chicken, serving some cow. Well, it's funny that Chick-fil-A's mascot is like a cow when they don't serve burgers.
Yeah, dude, ask for a hamburger when you go see the Jets at the Super Bowl. Just show up in a fucking a Jim Leonard jersey and be like, "Yo, let me get a fucking hamburger." And they're like, "Dude, what?" And you're just like, "Bro, like, you guys have a cow as the mascot," and they'll be like, "Yeah, we shouldn't have opened like on Sunday." Jesus Christ!
Yeah, like
Literally.
we shouldn't have. We should not have opened our corridors on such a day when the Jets would be in the Super Bowl, because that's going to bring out like the absolute worst in people. And,
Unholy degeneracy and blasphemy will occur. But
Yeah,
yeah, we shouldn't. I mean, like, listen, we're not being paid by those assholes, so we shouldn't be taking
yeah, we
this away
shouldn't be
from the
giving them.
Lions.
Yeah, we shouldn't be giving them too much airtime. Yeah, another reason the Lions give me hope for the Jets is because so last year the Lions were on Hard Knocks, and I feel like they kind of got hyped up, and then like they got off to a slow start in like the beginning of the season, and everyone thought, oh, same old Lions. And then, like you said, they had that game. What was it, like the middle of last season, where they whooped the Giants' asses, and they kind of just never looked back after that. And like ever since then, have been pretty much a juggernaut in the NFL. Like I mean, and that's not even like that's pretty much a factual statement that they've been a juggernaut like since that week. Like if you compare like all the other teams' records, I'm not sure what week exactly it dates back to, but like the Lions have probably lost like less than 10 games since then.
Yeah, probably. I would say less than 8 too. That was pretty. I want to say it was week 13 of last season. Let's look this
Oh,
up.
okay. So it was later. So it was later in the season. In that case, yeah, they probably have only lost. I mean, they only lost like 6 games this year, and if they lost most of their games last year at the beginning of the season because they started out like 1-6 or 1-7. Because I remember like the Jets were like 5-2, and like the Jets were 5-2 last year. Like because like last year's 7-10 actually felt a lot better than this year's 7-10. Given the expectations, just giving how everything went, it's kind of weird that both seasons finished with the same record. And both seasons like didn't end particularly well, but like last season ended a lot worse than this season. This season was just like all bad, but like the first couple of months of the Jets season last year were actually like really fun. Like probably the most fun most Jets fans have had. Like we were because I remember we were 5-2 at one point, and the Lions were like 1-6 or whatever, 1-7. And I remember I was hating a little bit on the Lions just because like going into the year, like the Lions got like the Hard Knocks hype, and it was also like the media seemed to like hype up these shitty teams, like or historically shitty teams, like the Lions and the Jaguars, and like the Browns is like getting good and stuff, and like wanting to see that happen. But then when it came to the Jets, it was like it seemed like they were still rooting for us to fail so they could get off their jokes. So when the Jets were like 5-2 and the Lions were 1-6, I remember kind of hating a little bit, being like, oh yeah, so much for the fucking Lions, who like the media was dying to see them be good, and like they're just gonna be terrible forever. And then now and the Jets were 5-2, but now the joke is certainly on us. But my point being is that they were on Hard Knocks last year, and then it was the year after Hard Knocks where they are on this deep playoff run now. But for the Jets were on Hard Knocks this year, so I'm just hoping that maybe it's not the Hard Knocks year. That's the year. Even though Hard Knocks does a good job of like making you feel like your team's going to win a Super Bowl if they're on it. Maybe it's the year after Hard Knocks. That's like the real year.
Okay, so to do our thing, right? Let's do some quick math, some Common Core maths, if you will, to make up for my kind of disheveled rant about Chick-fil-A. So we have November 20th. I was off by 2 weeks. Week 11, November 20th against the New York Giants. So they beat the Giants. They lost to the Bills in week 12, and then they beat the Jaguars, Vikings, New York Jets. They lost to the Panthers somehow, and then they beat the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. But, the playoff picture was not in their hands week 18, unfortunately. But to your point,
Yeah, so they
so
finished 6-2 last year, if my math was correct.
yeah, hold on, let me count one.
And they were 11-6 this year, plus the 2 playoff wins, 13-6.
So
So
yeah, it's they
yeah,
only lost 8 games since that week. We were on point.
yeah. So they are less than 10 games.
Wait, hold on, wait. So no, I think we're not on point. I think we're stupid at math. So yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they 6-2 to end the season, and their record was what, 11-4? No, that's not
11,
even quick math.
11
11
and
and
6.
Yep. Okay. So that's 8 games. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
so
bad at
it's
math. Plus, I'm still not adjusting to 17 games. Also, I'm
yeah,
bad
so
at
it's
math. But yeah,
yeah, so they're 17, yeah, 17 and 8 since the day they kicked the shit out of the Giants last
yeah.
year.
Wow.
Or
Maybe
wait,
your
no, they were
guys would
12.
be.
No, they were 12 and 5 actually. So they're 18 and 7. They were
That's crazy.
yeah.
If only you guys kicked the shit out of us, and it wasn't the worst football game I've ever watched in my life. Maybe you guys would be, uh, you know, on your way next year.
Yeah. And looking back that that Jets Lions game last year was like I remember it was kind of like the dagger, or it kind of felt like a dagger
20 to
for the Jets.
17.
Yeah, that was a game the Jets actually the Jets had it kind of the Jets were up and like the game was in the hands of their defense in that game in the last 2 minutes. And then like in typical Jets fashion, like they just decided not to cover some like random whoever was like Sam Laporta before Sam Laporta got there. They covered, they just some random white tight end just like caught a screen pass basically and like housed it, and we lost that game because of that. And it was like Zach Wilson. It was like Zach Wilson's first game back after like Mike White replaced him because Mike White got hurt, and
Dude,
he played like okay but not very good.
I remember watching the highlights of that game and seeing one of the best passes I've ever seen for Zach Wilson, and then also one of the most brain damaging passes I've ever viewed by any quarterback, not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
Zach
he had
Wilson.
that. He threw that dot down the field to like whoever like to set up. I think he threw like a deep pass to CJ Uzama, and it was either a touchdown or like set up a touchdown.
And I remember there was one throw he made that should have been intercepted. I'm not sure if it was by corner or safety, but like I remember the defender just being confused that he had a chance of like just basically like, dude, why did you even throw it there? I wasn't even prepared to intercept that. Jesus Christ, like
Yeah, like he was just so shocked that. I think I might remember that. And then like after that the Jets lost to Jacksonville, which was like the real dagger in that season. But then it wasn't the dagger because like all the teams they needed to lose like after playing Jacksonville that week, like they all lost, so they like had a fighting chance going into week 17, which is
right.
not to be confused with week 18. um, so in week 17 they played the Seahawks, and then like it was basically a game where like they didn't even get off the plane. They lost like 31-6, and that was like the return of Mike White that game. But that was I think that was like the true dagger in their season, and that's like when it was like okay, we need to get a fucking quarterback in here.
Yeah, and but we'll see. There's always next year with a rebuilt cyborg Aaron Rodgers, so there's always that. But yeah, man, honestly, like kind of crazy. Like I understand that the Buccaneers have won 2 Super Bowls, but I'm a Baker Mayfield stan. So it was a hard game for me to like root for someone because at one hand, like I want to see Michigan buyers, Detroit buyers from the city of Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
Um, but also, and like, man, if you're a Lions fan, you're the shit. Like, you literally have to have loyalty and passion. And, I feel like even though the Knicks haven't won a championship, I feel like it'd be that type of like
definitely
carnage.
that type of
Like,
vibe. Like
yeah, like
there
we're
there
gonna
will
like
be definitely be riots in the Detroit if
like
the
we are going to destroy our home. Um, but I mean, I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield, and it's kind of absurd with the starting serviceable quarterbacks that he's been on so many teams in such a short amount of time. We always say it on this podcast, right? Huge fan of him getting domed from a thick girl in the Cheesecake Factory parking lot. He will always be my hero for that. And I think
you
he's
doing this
matured.
or
Uh,
not?
I think he's matured. I think he's a good QB. Um, he's got a fucking arm. He knows how to use his wide receivers that are good. Like, how many times do we say, oh, they once we get them some weapons, they'll be good, and QBs are still ash, like we've all seen that, right? But
Sure.
yeah, Baker Mayfield is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's one of the better ones. Like maybe like I don't know, he's in the top 20 for sure. It's better than fucking like how much shit have we seen this year? He had similar stats to Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not going to be absurd. I'm not saying like he's better than Patrick Mahomes. He's not even fucking close.
He
But
is
if
though.
you see that at as the end result where it's like similar, that means he's doing his job in his scenario. He should have a job. And that first interception, if I don't, I was like really hammered, but I believe that was off Mike Evans' hands, right? Like that first
Yeah, it
interception was kind of
was.
like shit. But I mean, the Lions deserve it. But I do hope that we see a Baker Mayfield comeback year because we all want that. How funny would it be if Baker Mayfield had a championship before the Browns? I think that'd be hysterical.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah,
I
that
kind
would
of want
be.
that to happen.
Yeah, no, that would be incredible. I mean, I would say Baker Mayfield's definitely a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson right now. Wherever you want to rank Deshaun when he's healthy, I would rank
Yo,
Baker above him.
crazy thought, right? Deshaun Watson is paid more than any other quarterback in history, correct? That's still the case? Or is it Lamar at this point?
No, I don't think Lamar broke his record.
So in that case, he's the richest quarterback ever, contract wise, single contract wise. And he is legitimately worse than the man he replaced, and even more significantly worse than the man who replaced him, CJ Stroud. What a shithead. And this is such a
Yeah,
Brown scenario. It's hysterical. Literally, you could have just had Joe Flacco the whole year.
correction. Lamar actually does make. Yeah, Joe Flacco. Correction. Lamar actually does make more money than Deshaun. However,
Rightfully so.
yeah, as he should. However, Deshaun is Deshaun's obviously his contract is fully guaranteed. Lamar's is more of a conventional contract. Uh,
Right.
yeah, I mean, speaking of what were we just speaking of?
Baker Mayfield, Bucks, resurgence,
Yeah. So
Lions.
regarding the Bucks, I mean, that's another team that uh, our shitty teams, well, particularly my shitty team, could learn a lesson from. Is that so like the Bucks,
Have a
they
quarterback that's
yeah
okay
yeah
to
like
good.
have a quarterback, like have a decent quarterback after your Hall of Fame old quarterback that you're renting retires. Uh,
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, like so, obviously Rogers is only going to be here for like 2 years probably. I feel like this year is like I feel like we're definitely getting 1 year, probably two, and maybe three. But definitely we're getting him for this year, unless he does a bunch of peyote and decides fuck everything, which can't be fully ruled out. Like part of me still like I kind of have to see it to believe it at this point, like to see Aaron Rodgers play. But
He
we're
just
gonna
meets a
get this year.
Williamsburg hipster and he's like, Jesus, I'm leaving this like country. I'm
Yeah,
actually going to play in Canada, which is even worse, but like it's better than this.
yeah, but it's like we're getting this year, and we're getting maybe next year, and then there's like kind of this idea that we're like screwed after that, and we probably are screwed after that because we're not a smart team. But if we were a smart team, if like a quarterback that's like a middling quarterback that was kind of coming off of like whatever, because like with Baker it was like he was on the Panthers and like just didn't really. The Panthers is just like it's just like a hellscape. Like I remember like when the Jets traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers and people thought he was like going to a better situation. But the Panthers, which is just like they're just like an eternal hellscape at this point. For especially for quarterbacks, like it's hard to judge quarterbacks that play there. Like I'm not even fully convinced that Bryce Young sucks, like until I see him play somewhere else. And who knows, maybe he could still make it work there. I mean, even Cam Newton was able to overcome, the incompetency of Carolina. But yeah, no, just that like in a couple of years, like you could snag a quarterback like off the market, There will be people available. I'm not sure really who, but I'm sure there will be some names that could be there to be had. And I also don't think another lesson to be learned is Jordan Love is good, and if that's what like sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years looks like, then drafting a quarterback in the later rounds should definitely also be under consideration.
Oh, you don't want to trust Zach Wilson to become Jordan Love? You don't want to think about that? You don't want to do that?
Please.
Sorry, I just had to be kind of a prick. Well, speaking of like that and Jets quarterbacks and our good friend Samuel, and I don't mean Debo Samuel, who is out. So I do think that it is the Lions' time to attack. I think the 49ers still have the edge. Obviously, Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey, Brock Purdy does his
Debo might
job.
still play. Debo might still play. He's
He's 50-50. Okay.
Yeah, his status is uncertain.
But listen, man, and this is the perfect time for someone else to enter because I just heard a sound. Is someone here?
Yeah,
Hello.
Justin is in the
Yeah.
house.
So Justin,
Your
listen
video
to
not
the
working?
sentence. I'll address you both with this question. Oh, your name is Late. Cool. Excellent. Nice office you got there, bro. But my question for you both is how much of a hard on would you both have if you saw Sam Darnold getting sacked to send the Lions to the Super Bowl?
Oh man.
Like something happens, something horrific happens to Purdy. I actually like Brock Purdy, like no, but we know how this works out for the 49ers. They become vulnerable at the wrong time for the wrong millisecond, and some shit happens.
Yeah, they're
And
gonna. Yeah, I feel like the Niners choking is on the table.
I 100%.
I would
Like,
laugh if Darnold got sacked or Darnold threw a pick if he like somehow got into this game. Like if Brock Purdy needs Tommy John in the NFC Championship game again. Not that we're hoping for that, but if Darnold
No, absolutely not.
if Darnold somehow finagles his way into this game, then and does something stupid to get the Lions to the Super Bowl, like that would be pretty funny. And I remember what I was going to say before, Paul. It was when we were talking about like the Lions and the Bucks, and you were saying how you didn't know who to root for. For me, it was pretty easy because while I do like Baker, while I do like Baker, and while I'm a Mike Evans stan, and I would love if the Jets got Mike Evans, but I don't think he's leaving Tampa. There was one reason I didn't want Tampa to win and did want Detroit to win, and that is because Todd Bowles is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I don't need people, and I didn't want the Bucks to win because I didn't need people thinking that Todd Bowles was like a good head coach.
people are Twitter.
The only reason he sucked at coaching on the Jets was because of the Jets. He's a horrible coach. Like he basically gave up that game. He gave up the game at the end. Like the coaching blunders on both sides with the clock mismanagement at the end of that game was insane. So like Dan Campbell was like, and the Lions were like kneeling the football with like time left on the play clock, like more than like I think like when they took that final knee, it was third down, and they took the knee with it was like 38 seconds left in the game, but like 12 seconds left on the play clock. So they take the knee with 38 seconds. The Bucks had a timeout they could have used, and Bowles just chose not to. Like that timeout doesn't carry over to next year. And then his explanation.
Your one PTO day, your one timeout carries to the preseason.
He just chose not to use it. And like that PTO day definitely doesn't carry over if you're getting fired, which you should be getting fired for like a blunder of that magnitude. I think that if Tampa Bay actually had fans, they'd be calling for his head.
Right.
But yeah, that was horrible. And like if that was, if he, God forbid, if he was the Jets coach and did some fuck shit, like God forbid he got the Jets into the playoffs like that year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and did some fuck shit like that, like, oh my God. So I'm glad that happened because it's like I don't need people thinking that like Todd Bowles is a good coach and like dunking on the Jets further for firing him.
Yeah, Top Balls does that, right? And all the drunk Yankee fans that are pretending to be Bucks fans because they have too much money from their pension in the '60s. Yeah, they're not that mad about it. But if the Jets did that, those same Yankee fans would be like, "Oh my God!" Like, of course, it's the fuck. But yeah, that is
Yeah.
really acceptable. Like, you talk about clock management. Like, sometimes you feel bad people make mental mistakes. It's like, dude, that's the one thing you pay attention to is how much can we milk the clock, and do we
Or
have the
like,
ability to get a drive with the timeout on both sides? Those are the two main things. Those are literally the only two things you're thinking about,
or
right?
like
And
if
then
you're Yeah, or like if you're really that bad at managing the clock and managing timeouts, hire a clock guy. Hire like plenty of coaches have like time management assistants or whatever. Like there's so many different like titles. Just hire like one of your friends to like watch the clock for you and keep track of the timeouts and then let you know when you should maybe start to think about using them. It makes
like
no sense. It makes
like
no
you
sense.
have a fucking nerd like who can do
Yeah,
this for
and
you.
then his explanation for like why he didn't use it was like so bad. He basically said like because the Lions had the football at like it was around like the 35-yard line of Tampa when they took that knee, around 33 to 35-yard line. So you're looking at about if they kneel the football, it's fourth down, they stop the clock with 35 seconds left. They're in field goal range, but like their kicker, Michael Badgley, like the Lions haven't had good kicking all year. Like they have Michael Badgley now, who's replacing Riley Patterson because he was awful. Like that's not like an automatic kick. So like Bowles was just assuming that the field goal would be kicked, would be good, and then they'd be down by 11 points and that it would be impossible to come back. And even if that's the case, I still call the timeout. I still call the timeout and extend the game and just see what happens rather than just letting the clock run out. You loser.
Right. And we know Baker Mayfield could throw it to the 90-yard line, aka the opponent's 10-yard line, like, in a fucking jiffy. So like, from 35 out, oh yeah, he's good, man. He can do that.
Yeah,
Um,
like
but
if
yeah,
you
that is pretty god awful. I think that at the end of the day, because Jared Goff got his Oscar nominee or whatever for the Barbie movie, and then the women in the movie didn't get that, he was like rushing. He's like, "Yo, we got to end this right now. I need to go be Knuff for everyone on the internet." Thank you, Ryan Gosling. Thank you for bringing the Lions to an NFC Championship. But yeah, congrats to the Lions, man.
yeah, congrats to the Lions. They definitely deserved like the first 40 minutes of the show. It was well earned. This is the most like we'll ever talk about the Lions on this Jets podcast. Congrats to them. I hope that we can one day, experience what you guys are experiencing. I mean, I hope they go all the way, and I think
Property
they have a good
damage
chance.
and inebriation.
I think they're gonna play. I think they're gonna play San Fran tough.
Yeah. Do you think the National Guard's on call?
I mean, definitely should be. Like football games in the Bay Area are like rowdy enough, even without the implications. So like they should definitely have National Guard on standby in both cities.
Yeah.
Probably Baltimore too, just for good measure. Just have like the whole you'll have the borders and like the whole country on lockdown.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say on the previous point you said, Paul, about Sam. If Sam fucking came in for the Niners, I'd prefer that he throws a fucking interception or fucks up rather than he actually looks good and gets them to the Super Bowl. 100%. Kind of like how Hager's like, yeah, no, I'd rather see Todd Bowles lose.
Yeah. You don't need to win because you haven't won, but you need them to lose.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, fuck all that nonsense. But I think the main highlight of this weekend is hopefully Lamar Jackson shows that he can be an elite quarterback and beat another elite quarterback.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be tough because I'm going to just say it real quick. I think the Ravens are better than the Bills. You do not have the physical evidence to tell me that is not true. But what I will say is this: it's hard. Like, so I'm going to put it like this: it's very difficult. We all have eyes, ears, say what you want about like biases and stuff, but it is so difficult for me to say I trust a team to defeat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. It's just, can you say that confidently? We cannot. On paper,
Nah.
Seeing how good the Ravens are, seeing how good Lamar Jackson is, oh yeah, they should be able to beat them. Like, it'll be a close game, obviously, but they should be able to beat the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs are vulnerable at wide receiver, and the Ravens defense is really good. They don't even have I can't even name any of their pass rushers, but they have their ways of like disrupting the passing game of their opponents enough where it works in their favor more often than not. And then
Roquan Smith is just a dog.
yeah, and then I'm a fan of Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews goes down there. Not like Isaiah Likely doesn't really replace him at a 1-1 ratio, but they still do. They still do what they need to do, and it's kind of crazy how what did Lamar have 150 yards before touchdowns, being like, yeah, I'll do something if I need to. The rest of the team is that good. Also, I'm winning MVP. Like they should on paper be able
Rightfully so.
to win this game against the Chiefs. It's just playoff Patrick Mahomes really is already giving Brady a run for his money, and he's giving playoff Eli and playoff Mark Sanchez a run for him. I'm just kidding. But Patrick Mahomes is insane. I understand that Kadarius Toney is on this team. I understand that their receivers are dropping footballs. They have brick
Darius
hands.
was out against the Bills. I think that's the reason why the Chiefs won.
Yeah, huge upset. Really disappointing news when you
Also
have an injury that affects your team like Kadarius Toney. If you're a Bills fan, shame.
Also, Nicole, huge loss for the Bills. I don't feel bad for them at all. Fuck them. But also McCole Hardman really almost gave that game right back to the Bills because they were going to go up by fucking 10, and then McCole Hardman had that fumble at the goal line, and
all right.
Remember when people were clowning the Jets for trading McCole Hardman or for getting rid of him?
Did they clown that?
Well, he looks better than the Chiefs.
He doesn't look good anywhere. He sucks.
He sucks, yes, but he looks better. Like he's actually he's trying to be used. We didn't do fucking shit with him.
He had so his resume is 2 good streaming fantasy weeks for me in Chris Leonard's football league, and that's it. That's his only accomplishment. And then he got injured, and then he stunk, and then the Jets signed him, and then he stunk, and then he was traded back to the Chiefs, and then he stunk. That's like taking your ex back when you're like, oh, look at all these hot, sexy wide receivers. They're so good. And then they all stink. And then Travis Kelce is distracted because, he's doing his thing. He's not having the year he's supposed to have. And you're like, oh, baby,
no,
come back. And it's like, okay, so now my life is worse that I've interacted with my ex, especially when she was with the Jets. Jesus Christ, what am I thinking? So, we all had a better fantasy playoff week than McCole Hardman did. If you did not get negative 1.9 points on a fantasy scale last Sunday, you technically did a better job at football.
Yeah, I scored a total of 0 fantasy points.
There you go. You're up by 1.9.
Despite my best efforts to score more. However, but this is just to say that and the whole idea of signing McCole Hardman to use him with Aaron Rodgers was stupid from the beginning. If Mahomes couldn't find a use for him, what was going?
I thought he was there to be kind of a deep threat distraction,
or a gadget, Braxton Berrios' replacement, basically.
Yeah. You can get the defense to go one way and open it up for fucking Garrett or Lazard or fucking Cobb.
Yeah, well, it's not really going to open up shit for Garrett because everyone's just going to be paying attention to Garrett.
Yeah.
which is a good segue, I think, into the next topic, which is the Jets need another wide receiver. And
yep.
Are going to be people available.
We'll trade up for Marvin Harrison.
Well, that's not I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe Malik Neighbors falls to them at 10. I doubt it. But I think they'll probably be pretty active in the trade and free agency market to address the wide receiver.
We
Whole,
should be, but who's a free agent? Because I don't think there's going to be anyone draft worthy.
There's a few free agents or wide receivers that are going to become available.
I know Devontae's one. Who else? Mike Evans too.
Yeah, well, I don't think Mike Evans is leaving Tampa, although they might get in a situation where they might have to like pay, like they might have to like tag either him or Baker. Well, they're probably going to tag Baker.
They're tag over. Well, I guess pay Mike Evans, but that's if Mike Evans wants to take a long-term deal. If I was him, I'd be out.
His whole career, I don't know if I feel like he might be the kind of player who like wants to be in that one spot. He's been.
I don't know. I think he wants a ring. I think he wants a ring, and he's not certain he's going to get it with Baker.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I don't really think Mike Evans is going to happen. Although that would be like the person I'd want the most, if I'm being honest.
That's
fair. Think over any receiver that's going to become available. But Michael Pittman's a free agent. He could be.
Ooh.
That could be a good person to target.
I would take Pittman any day.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, I would take Michael Pittman. He would like as a wide receiver 2 to Garrett. Like,
yeah, that'd be fucking.
That would be.
Yo, Pittman would battle for a wide receiver 1. I love Garrett, but I'm not gonna knock what Pittman what he's done with fucking shitty ass Colts.
Oh yeah. I mean, like credit. Yeah, maybe him and Gardner Minshew could be like a package deal. That way we could get our backup quarterback situation.
Have an actual fucking backup.
Well, yeah, the Jets would have won like 10 games if they had Gardner Minshew. Minimum 10 games if they had Gardner Minshew this year.
Yeah.
AKA like cooler Mike White.
Yeah, cooler, better, slightly less.
If we had Browning, we could have won 10 games. The fucking Bengals back up.
Oh yeah, Jake Brown.
Hell, if you had Tommy DeVito or Mike White, Tommy DeVito or Tyrod Taylor,
yeah.
I take either of them over Zach at this point.
I think if we had both of them, we could have scraped our way to 9 or 10 wins.
Oh man, yeah, man,
T. Higgins will probably be available too.
Ooh,
yeah.
Cincinnati's coming up on that time where,
they got to pay him.
Yeah, like T. Higgins was drafted a year before Chase, and they got to pay like both of them kind of around the same time, and they're probably just going to lose T. Higgins because they're going to pay Jamar Chase.
Hey, if T. Higgins was smart, he'd take a slight pay cut.
I think he wants to, because he could probably get wide receiver 1 money elsewhere. So I think he's.
Oh yeah, he definitely could. Shit, go to the Colts if Pittman leaves, or go to the fucking Panthers.
No,
I mean, to do that, man.
Because all the people that we're talking about are going to be Jets next year.
All right, so we're gonna have Garrett Wilson, we're gonna have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and just gonna get both of them so they can pay Baker Mayfield.
And the O line will be trashed. So whoever our quarterback is,
Xavier Gibson just strictly to return punts.
No, we re-signed Miko Hardman to do that.
No,
we take him back for the Chiefs.
Gibson's literally better at McCall Hardman's job than he is.
No, he 100% is. I'd rather Gibson. I'm just saying, in Jets fashion, we do some dumb shit like that.
Hell, hot take. The Commanders will end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. and then you guys will just trade for Score and McLaurin.
That wouldn't be bad for the
the Commies kind of need a quarterback though.
What do you mean? Sam Howell isn't good. He didn't throw the most.
Some people think Howell is going to be good. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him.
Sam Howell is a weird case because sometimes sometimes he looks so good, and then there's other times where like he looks like he's like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. But I
And
mean,
it's and it comes with that
the-
curse of like, are you actually ass or are you on the Commanders or yes?
yes. Yeah, I mean the only reason the commies almost came back and actually saved the Jets tank this year. The only reason they almost came back in that game was because they benched Sam Howell and put in Jacoby Brisket.
True.
Look, they have fucking they just fired their coach, didn't they?
Who football team?
Rivera.
Yeah, Riverboat Ron is out.
So Bieniemy is probably going to get the head coaching job if they're smart.
I doubt it. I feel like he'll get snubbed.
Shit.
What about
I
Bill
would leave
Belichick?
if I was Bieniemy.
Because I feel like Bieniemy deserved. I thought Bieniemy deserved like a head coaching job after he left Kansas City, but
Yep. He did. But come on, he's a black coach. He's got to do more.
yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, he never really. It seems like he never really got credit for like the success in KC.
But we're watching fucking Casey fucking fail offensively all season long. So Bieniemy must have had a good he must have been a major input to their success last season when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he just beat the shit out of Darius Toney, and then now there's no one to do that. Yo, listen, I don't wish any ill will against the Chiefs or anything because they did us a favor. They beat the Bills, and the Bills beat themselves, which is hilarious. I love the wide right. It really warms my soul. I wasn't sentient enough to see that shit, obviously, as a Giants fan when it happened. That happened in 90 or 86.
That
90,
was
right?
that was the 1990. Yeah, the 1990 season, 1991 Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I was like literally 11 months old and like shitting my pants, which
Exactly.
is what the Bills do. So with that, yeah, man, I am so happy that the Chiefs did us a favor. But man, I do not want to see Kadarius Toney. Like, I just love that he's getting just flayed on Twitter, and he stinks. He's such a dickhead. Fuck him. Just the same way you guys feel about like Todd Bowles and Sam Darnold and all these jets. I hate that man. I hate that man like I hate Eric Flowers.
Yeah, like at least
Matt Dodge.
Todd Bowles and Sam Darnold are like nice people.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney
Yeah.
is just like, I'm gonna literally not like catch a football from the best quarterback in the league. Dude, imagine being hated by Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't even hate his own wife, Patrick. And imagine being hated by him. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think he hates his own wife. I think he has some disdain for his wife. I do think he hates. I think he hates the shit out of his brother.
He brought in like Taylor Swift like to be your friend. He was like, "Listen, like you need to have a friend that's not my little brother. Like this is not working for our PR. Like, please." But yeah, I mean, like I guess we should focus on that because that might have been the best game of the season. I think that Chiefs Bills game, like, oh man, and like the implications of it, and like So I want everyone to know that I was not in great shape. I was on a all day, drinking fest, and I did the very low hanging fruit comment of Tyler Bass, more like Tyler Ass, and then he missed it, dude. He missed it. I was so busy like talking shit that I actually like had to turn around when Steve was like, "Dude, he actually missed it." I was like, "Wait, what?" And oh man, I
fucking terrible.
For personal reasons, I am so happy about people who may or may not be miserable about witnessing that on their television. You love to see it. You love to see it. It eliminates all the teams that we don't like: Eagles, Cowboys, Bills. Like we can just chill and enjoy life, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no,
Speaking of that conference, I think the Giants are going to have a good chance next season to finish top 2 because the Eagles are looking like ass. They're going to lose Kelsey. The tush push isn't going to be as dominant. Like it wasn't as dominant this past season. So next season is going to be even worse. Jalen Hurts is not proving himself. He's got 2 great wide receivers.
Rebuilding.
Yeah.
Probably.
If Washington, I honestly think Washington, the Giants could take number 2.
Well, yeah, I mean Washington probably not. 'Cause it's gonna be like I think it'll be like a tough year for them. They're gonna be like rebuilding. Unless they draft like the Commanders might draft like Jaden Daniels or something, and he might be like really good. Or they might draft Drake May. They have the second pick, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was a supporter of Danny Jones in the sense where I wasn't ever sure if he was good or the guy. I knew he had the physical ability to do good things, right? Like clearly but like the awareness.
He looked like Josh Allen.
But I don't know. Watching Chris Hecker can attest to this. Watching that Seahawks game, he threw it like literally there was no excuse for this. He threw it right to a dude who was just like staring at him in all like teal and neon green. I was like, all right. I turned to Chris Hecker at sidelines. I was like, all right, that's it. That is the deciding factor. Stinks. Can't ever be good. And it was so ass. Tommy DeVito wouldn't have thrown that. Tyrod Taylor wouldn't have thrown that, and we just paid that man. So it's hard for me to believe in the Giants until we can like not get crushed by the Cowboys pass rush. So yeah I'm not buying into that, Justin. I'm just keeping it real. But
look, man, I don't believe in Daniel Jones, but I also didn't believe in Eli Manning. Eli Manning had 2 fucking phenomenal seasons. Not saying every other season was Daniel Jones level, but I didn't think he was elite. And the man proved that he could be elite.
Well, I just always like to refer because it actually I think it was either today or yesterday. It was like the 12-year anniversary, 11-year anniversary of that game. Eli versus the Niners to go to Super Bowl 46. Correct, Super Bowl 46. And that man got his fucking shit pushed in the ground and still made all the throws he needed to do. And that was a crazy game. I refer anyone who likes to hate on Eli to that game. Just watch that game on YouTube and, wish you had a quarterback who could, make those passes after getting brain damage. Daniel Jones is not one of them. Don't you ever speak his name.
Our quarterback outside of Aaron Rodgers, which we have yet to see come to fruition for our team. We've
never had a quarterback like that.
We don't have a single quarterback that could make those throws not brain damaged. So gotta kind of give your flowers to Eli. I don't personally. I don't know if I don't know if I would say he's a Hall of Famer in my opinion, but like he'll get in, and it's not the most egregious thing in the world for him to get in.
Right. I know people love regular season stats, but like Philip Rivers is a way better quarterback. Who do you think's more fulfilled? Eli with like 0 kids or Philip Rivers with no rings and like
Eli has like a normal number of kids. I think Eli probably has like 2 kids and 2 rings, and Philip Rivers is like overcompensating for his lack of rings with kids. He's like, I have to have enough kids to start my own football team, and we're gonna win a Super Bowl in 2045.
Philip Rivers.
They're just gonna move they'll just move the fucking Chargers back to San Diego, and it'll just be the whole team. It'll be a whole 53 of Philip Rivers kids. Philip Rivers will be the owner and head coach, and
at that point, he'd have to be. Come on.
Let me ask you this because actually, let me not ask you anything. I just think that like as much as I love Eli, we should give the floor to shitting on the Bills a little more, and plus, like Darren Jones to not be mentioned in January.
I want to shit on the Bills a little bit because it's so fucking annoying how like I've never seen a team and a players meet ridden after losing in the playoffs as much as the Bills and Josh Allen have been getting their meat rode after losing to the Chiefs. And Josh Allen's amazing. And for the most part played really well, but he still missed the key throw to Stephon Diggs that could have won them the game.
Also, elaborate on Stephon Diggs as a person since like Thanksgiving.
Garbage.
Oh yeah, he stinks. He's the reason my dynasty team choked.
Yeah, sorry about that, man.
For reference, me and Paul made a trade in it was year one of a dynasty league, and I traded it was the third round of the draft, and Stephon Diggs was on the board. I drafted Josh Allen like in the first round, like he's my quarterback, and I wanted the Allen Diggs stack, so I traded my sixth. I was a pick behind him, and we were like out at. It was actually when you were in Pittsburgh, Justin, for with Charlie for his
for Charlie. Yeah.
So
when we were at that bar, me and Paul like negotiated a trade where I was like, listen, I'll like you're thinking. I was like, listen, you're gonna take. What are you gonna do? You're gonna take Diggs? He's like, yeah, probably. I was like, listen. I'll give you my third, and like I'll trade you for that pick basically. So I gave him like I moved up one spot and traded like a 6th round pick to get the Allen Diggs stack, and my team was dominant all fucking year. I think I scored like the most points in that league. And then also Jahmyr Gibbs, and then we met in the playoffs, and Paul beat me, and Stephon Diggs didn't do shit. I think Paul had this, and he was doing all the work that day. Fuck Stephon.
Yeah, no, Diggs has been fairly fucking disappointing. But the fact that you bring up dynasty trades, I started a dynasty league in my fucking 8-year fantasy league. And Pat Mahomes was traded for Sam Howell in 2 picks.
Yo, get yourself dude, go see a therapist and get yourself out of the toxic situation. You don't need that in your life. I'd be just like
if we were to start a dynasty with like the same people in the Chris Leonard league, and shout outs to the Chris Leonard and the Delta Halo league.
He was doing work this year,
which I run and will run forever. There's never been a champion. There's never been a champion of that league who was not me, and that is a fact. It's only been 2 years, but still.
wait. Let me. Oh, in your dynasty, as I said, the other league I won it once.
Yeah, but that league, as far as like competitiveness, I mean, like it's not the most competitive league that I've been in. Or like there's some noobs in it that like don't really like. There's some noobs in that league that like didn't really know what they were doing, and like it's okay. I'm not like hating or talking shit. Like it was their first year playing fantasy football. They just didn't really know what was going on. And
yeah, like Taha.
I think that person
Taha doesn't.
yeah. Taha pretends he does. He don't know ball. But no, like there was one kid who like drafted 2 kickers. I think he ended up finishing in last place, and he has to eat like a hot chip, or he might be dodging that. But the competition is like not as much as like some other leagues that you might be in.
By the way, Taha, if you're listening, I'm just fucking around with you.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I do run that league. But like if we were to do a dynasty league with the same people in that league, there would still be no one stupid enough to trade Patrick Mahomes for like Sam Howell and 2 first-round picks.
So let me not to rub it in, Hecker, but so the way that trade went in the dynasty league, and then we'll get back to real football because no one cares about our fantasy team. So we're at PNC Park. We negotiated this in front of PNC Park, basically. And man, it was good. So what ended up happening was I traded up to get Justin Herbert instead of Trevor Lawrence with Steve. And then my next pick was Tyreek Hill. And I was like, listen, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm gonna pick Stephon Diggs, and I'm just gonna have Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill. And like we were both really drunk. And
that sounds dominant.
Let's swap. So like I think I was behind Hecker, and we swapped third picks. He gave me a 7th. And so he picked Stephon Diggs. And Muller's texting me. He's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Sorry, man. Like we're grown adults." And then I go so it hit 11. The clock hit 11, and then I just like went to sleep. So the timer for the draft start, and then I wake up and it's still like the first 3 rounds, and everyone's like pick, 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 and I'm like, Jahmyr Gibbs, why not? Let's take a risk on it. So
Good
I
season.
think that worked out for me.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have just let you take Stephon Diggs and taken Jahmyr Gibbs,
Yeah.
things might have gotten better. Although, it's crazy how like good Jahmyr Gibbs is and like how good he is even in fantasy too. Considering how like
How
weirdly
little they fucking used him.
using him, like especially at the beginning of the year, they barely used him.
Because he's like top
Montgomery.
tier, normal, like standard running back, but he's also really good at catching passes and like doing shit with that. So
there was a while we're on the topic of Jahmyr Gibbs, there was a leak like last year, like after the draft, there was a leak that the Jets would have taken Jahmyr Gibbs like if he was available, which I honestly I would have loved that.
You don't have to throw a football when you have Jahmyr
Well, no,
Gibbs.
I mean, have both of them. Wild concept, but you can have both of them. You can have Gibbs and Brees instead of Dalvin Cook and Brees. And
I can't believe Dalvin Cook is playing playoff football.
You could literally have two of the best running backs in the league. Like you could do so much with that. Like it would have been a better use of resources than drafting Will McDonald, even though I think Will McDonald will be good.
Yeah, I think he'll pick it up.
He better be good because there's going to be a lot
after we lose Huff. After we lose Huff, he's got to step up.
Yeah, it really sucks how inevitable it feels that like we're going to lose Huff. Yeah. And like I feel like they're going to try to re-sign him. I don't think they're just going to but Huff. Like I think they're going to try to re-sign him, but like they're going to get outbid by like another team, and they're just going to say, oh, like. They're going to have their number. They're going to get outbid, and another team's going to be willing to like overpay and pay the premium. I'm not even going to say overpay because Bryce Huff is a beast, and he deserves every penny he gets, no matter where it is. I just hope to God it's on the fucking Jets.
But not only that, he wants to play every down, and he's not going to get that play time on the Jets.
So he won't get every down, but he's been getting he gets more. He
gets more, but he wants more than what he's getting. So I think that's why he's leaving.
100%.
And the money. He said he's not taking.
Well, the money too, definitely.
So I saw sources say, and by sources I mean a sponsored Giants Facebook page run by a bunch of fucking meatballs, be like, oh yeah, we're gonna sign Brees Huff, and I was just like, listen. That would be devastating. Also, that's not going to happen. I don't think if it does stick. But
Bryce Huff and Kayvon Thibodeau would be that would be a pretty sick combination.
That would be.
Yeah, there would definitely be mad penalties and altercations, but it would be worth it for the net of like destroying the quarterback.
Well, most of those penalties and altercations would come from Kayvon, if we're being honest. Bryce Huff is a pretty disciplined player. Like he's a good. Bryce Huff is just a fucking dog, and he doesn't really commit that much.
So going back to shitting on the Bills, because I can't let the subject get away from us. So did something happen to their kicker? Why did they run a punt with? Why did they run a fake punt with Damar Hamlin? I was too intoxicated to process.
Well, they were in their own territory. They weren't in field goal range.
Right.
They should have just went for it. That probably would have been better than running a fake punt with Damar Hamlin. But I guess Sean McDermott thinks it's like a Disney movie. Sean McDermott thinks it's like an anime. He's like, listen, I'm gonna use 9/11 to hype up my team, and we're gonna give in the biggest moment of like a playoff game, we're gonna give the shitty guy who died on the field last year 5 seconds of fame.
Typical weed. Loves anime, loves Al Qaeda.
Absolute nonsense. I don't know. Honestly, if I was Damar Hamlin, I'd be like, nah, don't give me the ball, man.
Just let me let me live my life here.
Yeah, granted, I'm sure he's thinking like, oh yeah, no one's gonna suspect that you're gonna get the ball.
Yeah, they snuffed that shit out though. The Chiefs had the script.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like to the point too. It's like it's it's just so hard to bet against Mahomes and the Chiefs, like especially when they're underdogs. Like I don't care if they're on the road. I don't care how fucking Buffalo kiss my ass.
It is kind of crazy to me because like it seems like Patrick Mahomes does like he's obviously passionate throughout the entire season, blah blah blah. But there seems to be this thing every year when it's the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes clicks it and is just like, "Hey, I'm really good. I'm like top 3, top 5 in the regular season. It's the playoffs. It's January. Let me actually take this seriously. Let me use our like even think about that.
Yeah.
Was it that
Justin, what do
first
you got
year?
in there? You got our trivia questions in there?
Yeah, like
No. It's all work.
was it that?
You
Was it that
did
first year?
you do have trivia for us though, right?
I don't, unfortunately, man. I don't. I wish I did.
You son of a bitch. You said last week you had trivia. Where did that trivia go?
Well, it's not here.
Oh, all right.
But what I
That's
was
why.
gonna say is, like, you even think about Patrick Mahomes. Was it his first year where the Texans started blowing up the Chiefs in that playoff game, and then he was just like, "Ha, all right."
Yeah, they were up like 24
Yeah.
nothing, and Texans won like 56-31.
But that's what makes Mahomes fucking like. He started doing that during the regular season
Yeah,
when the team was just looking like ass. He's like, yeah, no, fuck throwing it. I'm just gonna run for a first down anytime I get a chance.
and the Chiefs should have beaten the Patriots in that AFC Championship game when Brady won his last Super Bowl with the Patriots. The Chiefs should have won that game. There was a fucking offsides penalty call that was complete bullshit. And
We all know what that was.
yeah, the
Got to
Chiefs should have
roll
won.
the punches.
Yeah, she should have won that. So like really Patrick Mahomes has only lost like one playoff game like legitimately, which was
Yeah, to the Bengals.
yeah, and I guess that other Super Bowl where they lost to Tom Brady was pretty legit.
Yeah, but I don't count losing in the Super Bowl as a playoff loss. The playoffs, it's to get to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is a whole other fucking entity of itself.
Yeah, no, I do kind of agree. Like, because it's like, yeah, Super Bowls, yeah, like playoffs is to get there, So it's like, yeah, it's technically a postseason playoff game, but like, yeah, it's like its own, it's its own thing entirely. Like the people who watch the Super Bowl, like the people who like only tune into the Super Bowl, it's like they're not like, oh, let's watch an NFL playoff game. They're like, let's watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's it. And oh man, there's gonna be so many motherfuckers watching Super Bowl. Fucking Chiefs get in there this year.
Oh yeah, for Taylor Swift, I think it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine that whatever not to conspire or wear a tinfoil hat, but it's hard to imagine that hard to imagine that unless the Ravens like really just beat the piss out of the Chiefs. It's hard to imagine that if it's a close game, that the officiating will be influenced.
Speaking about the officiating, I saw something where the lead ref, most of his games, the underdog wins.
For the game this Sunday.
I forget the dude's name, but like for his entire referee career, he his officiated games, the underdog wins more times than more often than the person that should win.
Yeah, so
compared to other refs.
So that ref is probably just throwing bans on whoever the underdog is. I gotta apologize. I was not familiar with your game. Breaking sports is actually good.
Oh man, yeah, I think we can discuss this more in depth in picks because it's going to happen whether we discuss it now. It's either we discuss it once during picks or twice. But yeah, man, it's like I do think that the Ravens should be able to win by like 10 points, right? Or maybe even 2 scores. But like, if that counts as 2 scores, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I just there's no physical evidence in life to be like, yeah, bet against Patrick Mahomes like in the
Yeah.
playoff. Like they're like I can't find a case study where, oh my God, this
That
team is
was a good
truly
idea.
better and more well-rounded, right? Like the Ravens are a better, more well-rounded team.
Yep.
They're better at wide receivers, and they don't have the greatest wide receivers. Like I like Zay Flowers, I think he's good. We got the homie Odell, so their receiving
Yep.
corps is fine. Their defense is better, obviously. They're running. I don't know. Pacheco is probably the best running back, but like as a collective, like obviously, like the
Look,
Ravens
look,
have.
Lamar is the best running back on the field.
Justin said it, not me.
Yeah.
Justin said it, not me. But like
Still racist.
it is literally that man, Patrick Mahomes, like putting the team on his back. Travis Kelsey is, and even Travis, dude, he's just like, okay, yeah, whatever. I just like procrastinated through the offseason, smashed Taylor Swift a bunch of times, and the NFL a bunch of money, and now I'm gonna get a touchdown every game. Like he's got 3 tutties already. Like good for him,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like their team, they know how to they know how to turn it on in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. When playoff time comes, like it's I compare them to LeBron and whatever team he's on. LeBron's just like, all right,
Yeah.
when the playoffs come, that's when I'm just gonna start really playing.
Yeah, like they were like, yeah, like the Chiefs. It does kind of feel
That's
almost
a good
feel like
point.
the Chiefs were kind of coasting through the whole regular season.
Yeah, it's nonsense, and honestly, it shouldn't exist in the fucking
Smart.
NFL.
If you're good enough,
It's definitely smart, but I mean, it shouldn't exist in the NFL because every game should be a struggle to win.
the Chiefs Ravens is like such an interesting matchup because it's like you got two of the two best quarterbacks in the league, like last year's MVP and most likely this year's MVP. They're going toe to toe. Like with them, even though like their supporting casts, I mean, both of their supporting casts are like kind of similar. Like they both have like a good rookie wide receiver that wears the number 4, Rashee Rice and Zay Flowers. I'm not sure, who's better out of the two of them. I like both of them a lot. Zay Flowers may be a little bit better.
I think Zay's got the edge.
Yeah, but Rashee Rice is also really
Zay
good.
Flowers will have
They both
a
have
great
that.
next
They both
season,
have
like next year.
and they both have elite tight ends. Like obviously, I mean Kelsey had a bit of a off regular season because he was laying the pipe with Taylor. It still is, but is performing at a higher level now. So they have him and the Ravens. I think Mark Andrews might be coming back.
No way.
I saw something about it. Like Gronk was talking about it, and he has.
Yo, if Andrews is coming back, I'm taking that. I'm betting on them to win.
He is expected to play. Not only is he maybe coming back, he is playing pretty much. So Mark Andrews is coming back. So like they both have like elite tight ends, okay receiving cores. The Ravens receivers are like better than the Chiefs, and like decent running backs. I'd say the Ravens probably have better running backs than the Chiefs. Gus Bus is probably like
I told you Lamar's the running back, and it's like the Bills.
No,
it's like the Bills.
Listen, Justin, if I say it, it's racist, okay?
No. Both their defenses are really good, but the Ravens are clearly better. Actually, when we're saying this out loud,
position.
When we're saying this out loud, actually they're very evenly matched. It's more the factor that like the Ravens have made less like errors, like less drops, less like they've been cleaner and more like brutal towards their opponents. And now the Chiefs have turned it on. So it's kind of unclear if you ask me.
Yeah, but then and it's like unclear. Like I think it'll be a close game no matter what, but it's unclear what kind of close game because like it could either be like a 54-51 type of game, but also like they have two of the best. They're like the two best defenses in the league. So it could also be like, it could also be a game like 24-21.
Also, let me ask you this, right? Let's say that the Lions do it. They put the stick to the 49ers because we're not trying to I think the 49ers are a great team, but the NFC was way more easy pick. Like you look, who did the Niners lose to? They lost to the fucking
they lost to the
Browns.
Bengals. They lost to the Bengals. That game was kind of weird. They lost to the They lost to the Vikings. Who else is that? How many games did they lose?
The Bengals?
No,
They
the
lost-
49ers. They lost like
Yeah.
4
Oh.
games.
Yeah, they lost 3 in a row too, so they had a bad stretch. But my point is, like, the NFC is a little bit more easy pickings for a team that's dominant. Like, I do group them in the dominance of the Chiefs, of the Ravens, but like you can even argue
Oh, yeah.
in their respective leagues, the Niners were more dominant. They were the best team in football for the longest time.
Yep.
You could still argue that pretty much, but I don't know. I think the Niners would have a way tougher time with the Chiefs, or I don't think the Niners win against the Ravens or the Chiefs. I truly think that if they make it, they are going to be very vulnerable. Like, I know they'll have their Kristen McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel bullshit, but I think, it's going to be one of those things where spazzes out and it unravels. I will say this though. If the
Team with the
Lions
better
do
quarterback
it,
will win.
if the Lions do it, right, and they sack Sam Darnold to go to the Super Bowl, I'm manifesting that it's going to happen, or interception from Sam Darnold, we're going to make it happen.
Sack fumble.
Yeah, like,
That'd be wild.
they make it.
Sorry, Brock
If
Purdy.
you're a
You're a
Lions fan,
sacrificial lamb in this. You're a sacrificial lamb in this story.
if you're a Lions fan, who do you feel that you like? You're probably losing to either the Ravens or the Chiefs, but you got to keep that blind hope. You got to keep that New York
Lions
Giants
already beat the
against the
Chiefs.
Patriots blind hope. Who would you rather face? Do you think that they would match up better against the Ravens or the Chiefs? Because as insane as this is to say, as the most respect for like Patrick Mahomes, I do think that the Lions would have a slight better chance and less trouble against the Chiefs than they would, because they beat them, first of all, this year.
Yeah.
We all saw it. Obviously, it's different. But
Yeah,
yeah,
granted, it
like,
was without Kelsey, but who cares? Kelsey isn't even that like dominant.
He wasn't dominant at all this season, I feel.
But yeah, no, I think I would agree. I'd say it's the Chiefs because they played both teams in the regular season. Lions played the Chiefs in the first game of the year and beat them. And Kelsey or no Kelsey, they earned that win. That was like there's no asterisks on that. They were a better team.
Oh, yeah.
they weren't even using Jameer Gibbs correctly yet, because
Yeah, they were barely using him at all yet. And I think the Lions played the Ravens, and like pretty much, I mean, the Lions have lost some games, but like for the most part, I think the only times the Lions have really gotten their asses whooped was like on Thanksgiving, because apparently, even though they're good, that's still like a tradition. And the other game where like they really got their asses whooped was against the Ravens.
That did happen this year. That's right. I wasn't even like remembering that. Yeah. It's just I don't know. Like, their defense is not bad. It's well improved from last year, but they're gonna have trouble with like the Ravens scheme, and as Justin would say, they're like 5 running backs they have.
Yep. The one that they need. That's it.
Dalvin Cook included. Except
Dalvin Cook puts up 100 yards.
Dalvin Cook will score a touchdown sometime over these next 2 weeks.
Dude, what if Dalvin Cook wins the Super Bowl?
I will kill myself.
I think it's possible.
It's definitely not impossible, because their running back situation is by committee enough that it could be Dalvin Cook, even though
their running back situation is Lamar Jackson. All right. Everyone else is backup. He's quarterback and running back.
Tie game with 47 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Sam Darnold, let's say the Niners make it. Sam Darnold bombs it, interception, and then there's no timeouts, and they actually, no, there should be a timeout in this scenario. But yeah, so they're trying to get within field goal range, and then they hand it off to Dalvin Cook, and he rips off like a fucking 40-yard run to win the Super Bowl. What happens to your mentality, your psyche, in that sequence?
I don't think I survived that. I don't think my brain will be able to compute that.
I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it. I say get Cook and fucking ring. Get him a ring. Fuck it.
I hope he gets the ring, but I don't want him to like do anything to get it. Like, I just want him to like chill and be and then like do like next to nothing, maybe like rush for like 23 yards or something.
Dude, he's gonna have.
If he scores like if he goes like if he runs 40 yards and like looks like old Dalvin Cook after he's looked like he's been wearing cement shoes this entire year. Yeah, no, I'd feel some type of way about that.
Man. Yeah, and then I guess before like we close shit out with our picks and our extended bullshit banter, I will say this: we didn't talk a lot about the Texans or Packers, and honestly, like you got to give like as a Giant fan and as you guys being Jets fans, man, it's got to it. We're happy for them, but it's just like you want to take your GM, your owner, and you want to be like, look, what are you doing? Like,
Well, shit, man. We've been saying that about Woody for years.
Like, I just do not understand. We have one team that like was supposed to be rebuilding, and apparently they're not. The Italian actually beat that team. They beat the same Packers that massacred the Cowboys and put up a good fight against the Niners. And then we have the Texans, who have been like eternal ass, mostly like in between the T.J. Watt and Andre Johnson years.
They have their first franchise quarterback ever.
Yeah. For sure. Oh, excuse me, Matt Schaub exists. I don't know.
Oh my god! Don't bring that name up.
Forget about him and David Carr.
Fucking god!
Like know your information, Chris Ecker. But yeah, it's just like like obviously like it wasn't a good look once the Ravens were like, LOL, okay, we're done playing. But like you can't be mad. You like feel for CJ Stroud. They'll get better. Jordan Love looks sick. Yeah. Congrats on ending up with him in Dynasty. Honestly. He's nice. The wide receivers, now that they have a young man to relate to and not a peyote doing crazy man with a mustache, they've turned it up as well. But which one of those teams do you think like progresses even more? The rebuilding Packers or the hey, like they should be good again Texans? Because man, I want to be cool and say the Texans, but the Packers look like they're in good shape after like week 12,
Yeah, I mean, history would tell you that it's the Packers, and obviously, they look like a lot more. They're probably like, they might be like a few steps ahead in the game right now. They're like a little more experienced than the Texans, but man, I think it might be the Texans because I mean they play in a pretty shitty division.
That they do.
They have one of
the. I mean, Jordan Love is really good, but CJ Stroud is like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Like,
he's astronomically better.
Like, I hope CJ, like Lamar's gonna win MVP, but I hope CJ Stroud at least gets like 1 or 2 votes. That would be cool.
So think about Josh McDaniels, right? Being at the wrong place at the wrong time as a Raiders fan after your terrible, your disappointments, your Jamarcus Russells, your Rich Gannon not winning the Super Bowl against the rent-a-year Buccaneers in 2002. Like all these things, the eternal suffering, the just everything, right? And then you hear that Josh McDaniels is the reason he somehow had the power to veto the literal general manager to not trade up for CJ Stroud. So imagine in your case, if the Jets are in this scenario and Robert Saleh is like, yeah, no, I'm going to veto Joe Douglas and we're not going to trade up for CJ Stroud. And then you witness the season. Who do you crucify and when?
Everyone.
And how fast?
Everyone and right away. Everyone as soon as possible. It would be Woody Johnson because I mean, the only person who's vetoing anyone is Woody Johnson. Just vetoes everyone and has the final say, and that's the way.
Yeah, which is retarded.
Just while he's in England, he's just like, let me send this message from England on my BlackBerry.
Yeah, he's been back for a minute, but he's been back for like the last like 4 years, but he'll probably be going back to England like in a year or so. When Trump comes back in the election, but
he's definitely coming back. By the way,
But dude,
He's
that's
definitely coming
literally
back.
insane to me. That's insane to me. Like, if I was a Raiders fan, I would be like, "Yo, we're taking a road
But
trip to New England and we're vandalizing someone's house and probably
yeah,
threatening their lives."
yeah, I would definitely, like egg Josh McDaniels' house or something, or egg Robert Sala's house if like he did that.
Like,
Um,
listen,
Like,
Jimmy
no, I'm not
Garoppolo.
gonna kill you. I'm not gonna threaten your family. You know, like I'm not gonna do any of that shit. But like, I might slash your tires. I might minorly inconvenience your day.
Yeah,
That's about
injury-ridden Jimmy Garoppolo in Vegas is as bad as an idea as like Josh Hamilton going from Texas to LA with a cocaine addiction. It's just like, why did no one like see the potential like distraction here? So yeah, it's just it's sad. Feel bad for Raiders fans, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
I guess should we do our two picks or do we have more to say?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, except the only difference between Josh Hamilton and Jimmy G is that Josh Hamilton was addicted to cocaine and Jimmy G is addicted to slinging dong.
I thought we were going to say the only difference between Damar Hamlin and Jimmy Kimmel, and I was going to say is they're both not actually real.
Correct.
I think I said they're both not on Epstein's list.
They're both government plans.
Yeah.
All right, you beef with Aaron Rodgers. You run a fucking face punt for a loss.
Also,
Oh man.
but yeah, let's do the picks. So we got two games. The championship weekend. This crazy. This season is the last weekend of multiple football games. So we're gonna have to do this again and stretch this out for 2 hours over a fucking Super Bowl. We'll start with the AFC Championship game at 3:00. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs are 3.5-point dogs on the road.
Yep.
I'm taking the points and I'm taking the money on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will win this game outright.
Oh. I am not agreeing with you whatsoever. I'm not hoping for a close game, although I think it probably will be. But I'm hoping that Lamar just comes out there and balls out, gets 250 passing, another 100 rushing, and their defense really just can't contain them. Although the defense has been phenomenal for the Chiefs for the entire season, I'm just hoping for the best. So I'm gonna take I'm gonna take the Ravens to cover easy. Easy. Are we putting scores?
You can if you want. Yeah, let's fuck it. Let's do scores. It's 2 games.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, the Jets and Giants aren't playing this week, so we might as well.
Yeah, I'll say Chiefs 27, Ravens 24.
Okay. I'm gonna say 31-21. Ravens.
Okay.
So
win against PA Mahomes.
Hey man, I love Lamar.
Interesting point about what you said, Justin, is so you were just like, I want Lamar Jackson to come out and just like, like put his foot to their throats. Again, on paper, I like do think that like the Ravens should be unstoppable in the AFC by far. I just like, history and like underestimating Patrick Mahomes, I can't say it enough. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I will say I kind of do want the Ravens to win because, it's 2-time Super Bowl champion Odell Beckham Jr. signed me up for like like go fuck yourself, Eli Apple. But I'll tell you this. Listen, man, I'll tell you this. if Lamar comes out and the Ravens come out like to a 14-0 or a 21-0 or a 21-3 lead, that actually makes me more nervous that the Ravens are going to lose than if the game is
Then
close the whole time. You know what I mean? Because you're just
yeah,
watching that and you're like, something terrible is going to happen to Baltimore. Vacate the area, if you will. I do think the Chiefs will win. I think it'll be one of those games that's like defensive at first, and then they just like let it rip the second half. I think it's gonna be 35-28.
okay, all right. High scoring. I like it. I like it. I think it's gonna be the opposite. The Ravens are gonna ball out in the second half.
12-9, field goals only. Defense holds both
What if that's how it happens?
That'd be insane.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have the Detroit Lions, America's team, against the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna manifest it. Jared Ryan Gosling
Don't do it.
Gosling will do it, man. I will manifest
Don't
it.
do it.
I will
do it.
Dude.
I don't
30-25. How does that score happen? I don't know, but it will happen. 30-25.
30-25.
4 touchdowns for the Lions and a safety by Aiden Hutchinson. And
By
then
Aiden.
God knows what weird shit the 49ers will do to get 25 points. And you know they'd be doing that. Like, even at the end of that Packers game, at the end of the first half, they were doing that panic bullshit. They're like, hey, random bullshit play, go. And, like, I don't know. It's funny how they do that. But, yeah, man, if you were to ask me to, like, bet someone's life on it, I would say the Niners. But my heart, my soul, my spirit, I am going to go to the blind faith football gods and try and manifest a Detroit Lions victory. Again, Lions 30. Niners 25. You heard it here first.
I like the faith, but you gotta always realize, like Danny Campbell might fuck the game up. So
Sam
I have no
fuck
faith.
the game.
I got more faith in Shanahan and the Niners to easily cover whatever the fuck the spread is. I don't even know what the spread is.
The spread in this game is actually 7 points.
7. They're giving them 7. Damn.
That is correct.
No, I think they'll cover it. Even with Debo out, I think McCaffrey's going to have a hell of a game.
Remember, I was wrong about that.
That's fair. I'm going to give them the points of...
Yeah, Debo's status is still uncertain for this game. He's not out, or
I don't think he's playing. That's just my personal opinion. I know it's not confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, if he does play, he probably won't be as effective as he normally is.
Yeah, because they abuse him as they should. Debo's a fucking beast. But I'm going to give it to the Niners 28-17.
28-17. I am also going to take the Detroit Lions. They're going to do it. The Detroit Lions. We got the mascot of the Detroit Lions right there, and there she goes.
Oh, yeah. Boo, the cat, if you can see her, she's silver. She loves the Detroit Lions. She's born like 3-4 years ago, so she's in good shape. She doesn't understand the true pain, but it's okay.
Yet.
That is true. She's got that lion silver, that lion gray, all over her body. Yeah, so I am taking the Detroit Lions to do it. I think the Niners looked kind of beatable on Saturday against the Packers.
They did, but it's also not the first time they looked beatable.
I'm sure they'll play
she's
better.
literally cleaning her ass.
But-
Like that's how confident she is.
Yeah, I can't really bet against that. I think, and I honestly like Brock Purdy in the
Clean your
playoffs
ass.
at least is usually Brock Purdy in the playoffs. Like overall, like not only this year but also last year, I've found Brock Purdy in the playoffs to be overall pretty unimpressive. I feel like Jared Goff will be Knuff, and I think he'll lead the Lions to a victory, 31-30.
The thing is, Purdy doesn't need to be impressive. He just needs to be the best game manager on the field.
Dude, a 1-point game to send the Lions to the Super Bowl, either way, destroys the state of Michigan.
That's true.
The National Guard's like, all right, we're going to just be like all over this shit. And they'll lose. The American military will lose. The Lions fans. You heard it here first. Actually, let's do the score for that. The National Guard versus the citizens of Michigan. I'm going to say citizens of Michigan, the shirtless ones.
What do you set the spread for that?
Casualties. So let's set it at 13,000.
So you're giving the civilians 13,000 casualty spread against the National Guard.
American military, yes. If the Lions make it to the Super Bowl, that's exactly what I'm saying.
All right, I think that the city of Michigan wins, but that's a big spread. I think the National Guard covers.
Okay, are there 13,000 people in Michigan?
I'm sure there's a couple, like a few million of them.
Actually, yeah, like think about the dude, if Michigan and the Lions win in the same year, think about that.
That would be
many are saying
Detroit would become a booming city again.
Yeah, many are saying it's Michigan's year. Well, they still got the Pistons holding them back from that.
Oh, if the Pistons just make the playoffs, then it's a trifecta.
They'd have to win like every single game for the rest of the season. Literally, they might already be eliminated.
They are fucking horrendous. Truly horrendous.
Are you able to look up like a $1 bet on the Pistons winning the NBA Finals this year?
Yeah, I could pull that up.
The odds would be astronomical. I'm certain of that.
I do think that DraftKings or FanDuel would actually go bankrupt. Like they were like, "Yo, we literally don't have the finances to pay this out."
They probably don't even allow it.
Yeah, FanDuel doesn't even have the Pistons listed for the NBA Finals. Let's see. Do they have them listed for like the?
They're that terrible.
I don't think they have them listed even for the. They don't even have them listed for the conference. They might already be eliminated. Actually, well, they're 5-39, so I don't think they're mathematically. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated yet. Yeah,
that's Jesus Christ. I'm glad I'm not a fan of any Detroit team.
Parlay of Lions to win the Super Bowl and Pistons to make the playoffs pay out.
Yo, I'll bet a dime on it, and again, pay my student loans twice over, and then have enough money to buy us all helicopters to go to the Super Bowl. We'll be chilling in T Swift's box, although the Super Bowl would have to be won for us to do that, so that can't happen.
Yeah, God damn. Detroit just no luck there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you say, man? The Lions did it. We know Cowboys fans who haven't seen their team in an NFC championship, so that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. It is. I like how they got Eminem out there for their last game.
Yeah. I think it is going to be a Eminem versus Taylor Swift.
Oh my God, no, I wouldn't watch. want to watch. I can't.
Wait, Justin, what's the 2 albums in a row from Eminem? Is it Relapse and Recovery?
Yeah, that people
Yeah,
hate.
and he's gonna release Relapse 2 and then No Recovery if the Lions win. Oh man, honestly, like fucking. Imagine a statue, like downtown Detroit. You see a statue of RoboCop and then Jared Goff.
No.
I love it.
Look, I don't mind Goff. I just don't think he's as elite as he may look. He may have looked this fucking season.
Dude, listen, man. I'm just gonna tell you, when you have a poverty franchise like that, you look at all the teams signing quarterbacks and be like, "That's our." Oh, listen, I'm not even trying to take a shot at you guys, but you look at all the teams that are like, "We just need a quarterback," blah blah blah, and Jared Goff, like again, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon Ra, like defense is solid, Sam Laporta, but like you still need a man to not fuck up enough and beat good playoff teams.
Yeah,
Listen, man.
I mean, Goff can do it. He can. I'm not gonna say he can't. He's done it twice.
What's the Jets' record with Jared Goff this year?
11-6. Actually, yeah, more like 10-7 because I don't think Jared Goff would be as good, like with Nathaniel Hackett and like Robert Saleh as he. Like I think, I think
like
the
I'm
Lions,
trying to think the play calling, he's gonna
But
definitely.
The Lions are super aggressive offensively and like have like a very creative scheme, and the Jets run like a 1980s offense.
Yeah,
1980s. I wouldn't even give us that much credit.
Yeah, like 1930s.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson would have like 300 to 600 more yards, in my opinion, though.
What if it was?
If we were facing 1930s quarterbacks, oh yeah, Garrett Wilson would. I was about to call him Gilson. He'd be fucking running over everybody. Shit.
No, I mean like he would with Jared Goff as his quarterback this year, he would have 300 to 600 more yards.
Oh yeah, he might have had.
Yeah.
He might have had 2,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, no, that definitely.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson gets open. We just didn't have a quarterback that can see he's open.
If Aaron Rodgers actually played this year and like the receivers were what they were, and like they didn't make any moves at the deadline to get better receivers, Garrett Wilson might have gotten 2,000 receiving yards this year.
I mean, think about it, like how quick
he got 1,000 with Zach Wilson, Trevor Siemian, and Tim Boyle.
So after Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, right? Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, and then AJ Brown, CD Lamb. Even before, like the next guy there, like he was in the top 20 picks was Garrett Wilson for fantasy, right? Because we all thought about how much of a boner the Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson.
Amon Ra was up there too.
Yeah, Amon-Ra.
Yeah, and he had a great season too. He had a great season.
Yeah, and now it's like you think about like how people were like, "Oh yeah, Mike Evans is still on the board in round 6 or 7." It's like, oh, isn't that fucking hysterical? Like,
yeah, Mike Evans fell this year
for no reason. For no good
reason. But you know,
no good reason.
People don't trust the Bucs wide receivers because they don't trust the usage between him and Godwin, and I think they also just didn't trust Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and they weren't supposed to have a run game at all, but Rachaad White ended up being fairly good.
Oh yeah, Rachaad White was sick.
Yeah. So I mean, but Mike Evans has put 1,000 yards every single fucking season. Where was the doubt? Where was the doubt that he couldn't do it with any fucking quarterback?
He's gonna break that streak, right?
I don't know what the streak is.
Isn't it 1,000 yards plus for like to start off the season or some shit like that? Something crazy, or is it 1,500? Something like that.
Oh, like consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who holds it. Maybe Jerry Rice. I have no fucking idea.
Absolutely, Jerry Rice.
That's my guess. Because there's been no receivers that maybe Calvin Johnson didn't do it as long.
Rice has the NFL record with 11 straight.
Ah, okay. So he
And
needs 2
Evans
more
is at
seasons
what,
to beat
10?
it. Yeah, he's got 10 now. I think it's 10 now.
I think yes.
And that's insane. 1,000 yards for 10 seasons straight.
Yeah,
With
he's
besides,
different
Brady,
different quarterbacks, different coaches.
And besides Brady and then Baker, who was his quarterback before that? Oh, Jameis
Jameis.
Winston. Makes sense.
and then who was his college?
But before who was before Jameis?
His quarterback in college.
Oh,
Your boy.
who was it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Aggies. He's the only reason you even like that guy. He's the only.
I don't know what you're talking about. Man.
The only person
didn't get.
who made him look good. That was the only reason he even looked good in college, was because he had Mike Evans.
They should have paired them together in the NFL. Could have been like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, man. Shit.
Yeah,
Match made in heaven.
That's all he was missing, right?
We are in the Super Bowl for 2023 to 2024, and we are mentioning Johnny Manziel. Guys, we all need to turn ourselves in.
Yeah, well, it's
It'll
more
be,
just
it'll be 2050, and we're still gonna be talking about him.
it's more just you will be. I don't know about the rest of us normal people. It's kind of crazy. He just barely got. Like, there are a few of these years I'm looking at, like because Mike Evans has had 1,000 yards receiving literally every year of his career.
Yeah.
There are a couple where it's like he literally just scrapes by. Like, he got 1,001 in one year and 1,006 in 2020.
He probably extended for those. It's just like, I need this. Fuck it.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to have all of his I feel like he wants to have all his 1,000-yard receiving seasons with one team, especially a team like the Bucks. That kind of makes it like even more impressive. Like, he had like
shit-ass team.
He had like 3 years of a Hall of Fame quarterback, but aside from that, it was like a bunch of dog shit. And no.
At least he has a ring. He does have a ring.
He does have that.
That's all that matters, really. You got to get one.
All right, man. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, but it is 11:11. That's like an angel number or some bullshit like that. Also, we mentioned Johnny Manziel, so I'm out, guys. Honestly.
Yeah, time to end the podcast on that note.
Yeah.
Go Lions, and we will see you next time.
Let's go, Lamar. Lamar and friends.
Go Lions.